Alright, so if y'all been following this series, y'all probably know we are building a Miata to give away, and today is the day that we're starting the coilover installation. So this is the Miata right here, and let me just pull in the garage and I'll explain what we're doing. So honestly, there's gonna be some of y'all that are not that happy with me. Taylor's leaving, hold up. So basically, I got sent MaxPeedingRods for the Miata. Dude, it's so tight. I don't even know if I have enough space for the Miata. I'm in here, bro. I don't even know if I can open my door. Let's see. Okay, so we fit, but barely. I've got barely enough room here, barely enough room here, and we can't get the mower out, so I gotta be quick with this install. But basically, MaxPeedingRods sent me these, I believe they're the T6 coilovers. They said they wanted me to try them out. I told them I'm gonna be brutally honest with y'all. These are MaxPeedingRods, bro. They're known as like eBay coils. So I don't know what to expect. Honestly, I posted a video about them on TikTok, Instagram, and a lot of y'all like, bro, I'm running MaxPeedingRods with no issue. And then a lot, and the more people were like, or some other people were like, bro, MaxPeedingRods are the worst things ever. I've had terrible experiences. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna try them out. They were free. If they're terrible, I'll get nicer coilovers. I'm already eyeing the Meisters or the TNs if these don't go well. So let's throw these coilovers on. Let's see how they do. Let's see if they're clunky and junky or if they're smooth and quiet. I have no clue what to expect, but I will say if they're terrible, I'm gonna be kind of upset that I wasted my time installing them. But let's get right into it. Oh, that is the wrong way. So actually, before we get started, let's measure the wheel gap now. I got it raised up to a foot because this car is a monster truck right now. So on the rears, we are sitting with about, that looks like roughly 3-inch wheel gap. It's not exact, maybe a little bit less than 3 inches. And on the fronts, we are sitting at, it looks like slightly over 3 inches. So the goal is to make the wheel gap, the goal is to get that wheel gap less than 1 inch. So we're gonna drop these down over 2 inches. We're gonna drop the rear about 2 inches. I want there to be like that much wheel gap. Not even like that much wheel gap. And we also got new wheels too. So once we get these coilovers on, as long as they're decent quality, the wheels are going on right after. Also, it is unbelievably hot today. It's like 90 degrees here in Charlotte. So I'm glad I got a garage. That way I don't gotta do it in the sun. But it's still hot. But let's get cooking. I'm gonna jack up the car and let's get these the stock suspension off ASAP. Alright, so we got the car in the jack stands. It's gonna be here probably a couple days. I'm not planning on knocking out this install in one day. Something I didn't realize, I didn't know this one came with the Bilsteins, which kind of makes sense because this car, it handles like it's on rails and it's literally stock suspension. And it's not even new suspension, so it handles super well. So I'm not surprised by the Bilstein upgrade. I just didn't know that my specific model came with those, but that's nice to know. Even though we're taking them out and we're replacing them with some eBay suspension. But as far as the removal, it should be pretty straightforward. I'm assuming it's just 3 top nuts, like most coils on every car. There's obviously the bottom nut down here that we're gonna have to take off to release the bottom of the coilover. And then I don't think we're gonna have enough clearance to just get this out. So we might even have to take this A-frame down. Or on this A-arm. I'm not sure. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off this A-arm, or let's start off with just taking off the bottom nut and then the top nuts. We'll see if we can get this out, but like I said, I really don't think I'll be able to get it out without removing that A-arm, which is alright. It's just 2 more bolts. So I'm gonna start doing that. I don't have someone to record me, so I'm just gonna start doing it. And if we run into any issues, of course I'll check in. I'll let y'all know. That way, if you're doing this exact install, you're gonna know exactly what you need to do. But it should be pretty straightforward. It looks like a pretty standard strut assembly. Also, something worth mentioning, I just realized this car comes with a stock strut bar. So there's a series of 12 millimeters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8 on the other side, right here, but on the other side. And I already busted my finger. Y'all know me, bro. I don't think I've ever installed a part without drawing some blood. So honestly, that needed to happen, and I'm glad it happened like this and not in some serious way. But yeah, pretty self-explanatory whenever you get under here. But if you've never seen any of this, then that's not really that self-explanatory. So yeah, in order to remove the strut bar, you need those 12 millimeters, and you do need to remove the strut bar in order to remove the top nuts because the strut bar is over the top nut bracket. I didn't know this car came with a strut bar stock, honestly. Also, the bolts all came off very smooth, which I was pleasantly surprised with. Considering the age of this car, I didn't know if everything was going to be like super seized on there, but it's very smooth. So far, it's very smooth. Let's get these top nuts off. I already took off the bottom nut, and let's see if we have enough clearance to get that coilover out, which I don't think we will. There's not much room right now. As suspected, top nuts are off. I don't know if y'all can see it. The bottom nut is off, and there's not close to enough play. So right now I'm taking off this A-frame, or the A-arm. I don't know why I keep calling it an A-frame. But yeah, I'm taking off the A-arm, and then hopefully that clears up enough space for us to get this front shock off. And if it is, this is honestly a pretty simple install for the fronts. Perfect. So yeah, 2 bolts to get this A-frame off. I mounted it back up, but the bolts are out, so it's not in there right now. With that A-frame dropped, we got the stock shock out. So now it's just a matter of reversing all of these steps with the coil over. So let's get this coil back in there now. Honestly, that height difference is already crazy. So I'm not even gonna adjust the coil. I'm just gonna leave it out the box. I'm gonna make sure that this front coil is the same height as the other front coil. I'm gonna lock it in place, and then we're just gonna install it like that. We'll drop it down. We'll see where the ride height's at. And if we do need to mess with the ride height, we can afterwards. Now, this is something else that's self-explanatory for some of y'all, and for some of y'all, you have no clue. So in order to get that coilover back in, you're gonna, that A-arm that we took out, you're gonna drop that A-arm because there's no nuts in it. So you pull it out, you weave the coilover into the A-arm, you seat the coilover near the bottom. So the top nut lines up again. It's not perfectly lined up right now. And then you're gonna use the jack to lift up the entire assembly until the threads for the new coilover go through the top hole nuts. And then of course you're gonna wanna put that bracket back on as well. So I've got everything loosely put together. I'm gonna start reassembling the bottom, which is the bottom nut, the A-arm, and then we're gonna tighten up these top nuts, and then this coilover should be done. And as y'all can see with the jack lifting up this assembly, this bottom nut is not lined up whatsoever. It's as simple as letting off the jack until it lines up again, right around there. And then you can just slide that right there, and then just, you slide it over again, now that it's lined up, and you just put the nut and the bolt through there, or the nut through, tighten it with the bolt, and you'll be all set on the bottom here. And then it's just a matter of connecting these A-arms again with the 2 nuts that we took out, not the 2 nuts. My brain is scrambled today. You'll get one of these for each side, put those back through. You might have to use a little rubber mallet to get it lined up perfectly, but yeah, bolt there, right there, and then the bottom one, and then you just tighten up the top ones, and we should be all set. All right, let me drop this off the jack, because this side should be complete. Right now, everything is just kind of ugga-dugga tight. So, just very hand-tightened top nuts. We're all set there. Hand-tightened A-arm nuts, so we're all set there on both sides. And then hand-tightened bottom nut as well, so we're all set there as well. Something weird I noticed, the original top nuts from factory are 14 mils, whereas these aftermarket MaxPeedingRods ones are 15 millimeters. Not a big deal because most of y'all have a socket set. But just in case you only have a 14 mil, you are gonna need a 15 mil. Actually, never mind, I lied, bro. You can just reuse the OEM nuts. I'm not even thinking. Passenger side front, done. Honestly, super simple. I showed y'all every step. Even putting the coilover back in, some cars it's kind of a pain to get everything to line up. This one was super easy. Everything was really flexible and smooth. I'm gonna knock out the driver's side off camera. If anything weird comes up, I'll let y'all know, but I'm just gonna knock out the driver's side front and then we'll move on to the rears. Also, I'm not just gonna keep everything hand tight because honestly, a lot of times that's when you get noise from your suspension installs. So once I knock out the front, I'm gonna fully torque everything to spec before we get to the rears. That way everything's like perfectly there. So if we get any clunking and weird noises, we know it's from the coilover and not from the install. Not super necessary, but I'm just OCD when it comes to noises, torque specs. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna torque every bolt to spec. Something I think is worth mentioning, when you're taking off this A-arm has a lot of space. So this socket, it'll fit on there, no issue. You can put your wrench on there, there's a lot of clearance. This side is pretty tight because of this. I'm sure you could take off this bracket. What I do is I put the socket on there, and then I lightly hammer it on. That way the socket sits on there super tight, even though the bracket is technically in the way. And then just put your wrench on there after you hammer the socket on, and then you should be able to just break that loose. At least you definitely will be able to break it loose, because that's what I did on the other side. I just realized it was out of view, but this is the bracket right here that I'm saying gets in the way. I hammered on the socket, and since I hammered on the socket, I did break it loose. And then from that point on, you can just loosen it. There's not a crazy amount of tension anymore. Yeah, I lied. You're gonna have to take off this bracket. Cause whenever you take this bolt out, there's no clearance without hitting this. So just take off the bracket. It's, I think it's a 12 millimeter. Just take out that 12 millimeter and then it loosens up the bracket enough to get it out. I've just got a hand tight right now cause I'm gonna tighten that back up, cause I gotta get the bolt back in. So I gotta take off the bracket again. One bolt. Slide the bolt in and then I get to tighten the bracket back up. But you do gotta take that out. So you might as well take out that 12 millimeter now to get it out of the way. I literally just fought this other one, getting it out for like probably 45 minutes. I'm gonna show y'all the problem I ran into, just in case y'all run into it too. So obviously I have the coilover in right now, but imagine this is the stock shock. So at the bottom, wherever the shock lines up, it actually looked really similar to this. The control arm was like jammed up and it wouldn't let me get this shock free no matter how much I hammered it and jumped on everything. So I ended up having to take off the sway bar end link as well, which is right here. It's just a 12 millimeter bolt. It goes through that hole right there. I had to take off this sway bar end link. That way I could drop the control arm. That way I could get these shock free. So in case your shock gets stuck, just take off the end link and you should be good. I didn't even take it off completely. I just unbolted the bottom part. But I hope that helps so y'all don't spend 45 minutes on it like I did. Now we are back to reassembling. So I'll let y'all know once we get this coilover all bolted up. So after fighting that eyelet for about an hour, got everything loose, got everything reinstalled. The front coilovers are done. So let's move around to the back. So I popped my trunk and I can't see anything. I can't see the top hats of the or the top nuts for the rear struts. So I took out the carpet. I literally just pulled it out. There was a pin here and there's a pin here. I literally just pulled the carpet out. Those pins came right out. And then now I'm gonna take out all this plastic trim. It looks like all these like plastic push pins everywhere. So I got a screwdriver. I'm gonna pop all these out. Let's see what we're looking at. So there are a lot of pins back there, but everything's popping off pretty easily. I will say to get this one off, the back panel, you're gonna have to unplug the trunk light, and you're also gonna have to unplug like whatever this latch is. I've never used, I don't know, but unplug those two, and then it's all the pins, those two connectors, and then all the panels will be out. So we got all the panels out. I can see I can see this rear strut. This one is still covered. I'm assuming that's like a fuel line cover or like shield or something. It looks like a couple bolts, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and I think that's it. So let's take off those bolts, and hopefully we have access to both the rear shocks at that point. All right, so we have access to everything now. That nut back there, I don't know if y'all can see it. That's gonna be a pain to access, but hopefully I can access that. I took off the rear wheels too. It looks pretty simple. I'm just gonna take off the nut on the back of this. I'm assuming it's a 17, just like the fronts. And then hopefully I have enough space to wiggle this stock shock out. Because if I don't, then we're gonna have to drop these arms, which I don't want to do, but I have a feeling I might have to. Like, it's similar to how we dropped the A arm in the front. I'm assuming we're gonna take out these upper arms too, but hopefully not. Let me take out the top nuts. Let me take off the bottom nut, and then hopefully we can wiggle it out without dropping these upper arms. Hopefully. So I have, I start on the passenger side. I've got the shock fully dropped on the top. I've got the bottom nut removed off the bottom, but there's not enough room to get that out. I will say, whenever I step on this and push it down, I'll try to show y'all. You see the coilover move? I mean the shock. I'm gonna try to get Taylor to come out here and stand on this, stand on the whole assembly, and maybe I'll be able to wiggle it out then to avoid removing these arms. If not, we're removing the arms. I just need you to stand on that.
Stand on it?
Yeah, just to push everything down. We're gonna see if that makes sense. Like on this, you can literally just stand on that.
It's gonna fall?
No, it's not gonna fall. Keep bouncing on it a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, never mind.
Doesn't work?
Nah, I might need you to come out a bit, but it's okay for now.
Dang, sorry.
No, you're good, thank you. Alright, so that didn't work. So that means we gotta drop the upper arms. Thank you. So, yes, I dropped both arms. I disconnected this arm from the front. I disconnected this arm from the rear. I did this one from the front just because I couldn't access the back. But then I had Taylor jump on it and bounce on this assembly, and I was able to wiggle out the shock. So now it's just a matter of doing everything in reverse. Gonna put the coilover in. We're gonna mount it. We'll put the coilover on the bottom first. The washer is still there. And then we're gonna just raise up this part with the jack again, the whole assembly. Line up the top holes, and then it's just reversing all the steps I just showed y'all. If I run into any issues, I'll let y'all know, but it should be smooth sailing from here. The hard part's over. I need to knock on wood. And just like that, the passenger side rear is in. We got all the arms reconnected. I can barely walk here. And then we got the top secured as well. So now it's time to go to the driver's side. There is no clearance over here, so y'all wish me luck. I'm gonna try my best. I'm not gonna record this side unless something else happens, because I'm getting tired. I don't want to record. I just want to knock this out and be done with it. So if something crazy happens, I'll let y'all know. Otherwise, I'll check in whenever we're done. So while I was removing the other side, which we did get removed successfully after some finagling, after some finessing, we so as y'all can see, both of those are bolts, and then the one on the inside is these are nuts, and the one on the inside is actually a bolt. When I was taking out the bolt on the driver's side, it snapped in half. So I'm gonna need a new bolt. That way we still have the top 3 nuts. But for now, I'm just gonna reinstall everything until we get a new nut. And then we'll be done, I guess. But let me just knock out everything in the meantime. That is always annoying when something like this happens. So all of the coils are on, which means I'm done for the day. I do need to get a replacement nut. I need to look up what size that one nut is that snapped in half, and then I'll just torque that up, and then we'll be done. So I'm not gonna take the car off the jacks. I'm not gonna put the wheels back on because it's not ready yet. I'm gonna get that nut probably tomorrow. We'll probably just throw it in tomorrow. Then I'll throw the wheels back on, and then we'll see the ride height. For me it'll be a little bit, but for y'all it'll be instant. I'll see y'all soon. It's the next day, and we got the bolts from Advanced Auto, and we're ready to finish the Miata. If this bolt don't fit, I'm gonna wrap the Miata around the tree. And it looks terrible in here. I'm so excited to get this done. That way I can clear out the garage again because this is just bad. All right, well, this is the moment of truth. Let's see if this bolt is the right size. Oh, it's threading up. How beautiful. So just in case y'all snap that rear bolt, it is an M8 by 125. And then I got a 35 millimeter. I'm hoping that's the right length. It should be close enough to work, but let's see. Let's see if it went through, and beautiful. Y'all see that back there? That bolt right past my fingertip, that's the bolt that we just threaded in. It is flush on the bottom, and there's definitely clearance for the top, so we are good to go. We're all done. I know I said earlier in the video I'm OCD about the torque specs, but my back hurts from yesterday. I'm a little sore, so everything is getting good. I'm about to, every single bolt that I touched on the front and the back, I'm just gonna make sure they're all tight. I'm gonna make sure everything is back in place. I'm gonna put the strut bar back in. I'm gonna leave the trunk trim out for now, just in case I need to mess with anything in the rear. I don't wanna take all that trim out again. But yeah, strut bar's back in. I'm gonna retouch all the bolts, and then we're gonna take the car off the jack stands, and we're gonna see what it looks like. If I run into any issues, if something weird pops up, or if something's broken, or if I find anything, I'll let y'all know. But otherwise, I'm putting it back together, and then we're about to take the car off the jacks. So I've got everything tightened up, and surprisingly, these MaxPeedingRods actually have dampening rods for their dampening knobs for the front and the back. Look at that spider. What the f But I set the dampening, if I felt right, there was 25 clicks on the front and the rear, so I set them to 12, right in the middle for the front and the back. But something I just realized when I was going to put this sway bar back on is it no longer fits because the dampening knob gets in the way. So because of that dampening knob, in order to run this strut tower again, or run this strut brace again, I guess I'm gonna have to cut the center of the strut bar out. That way the knob can go through, which kind of makes sense. And I'll probably end up doing that anyways. That way I can adjust the dampening as I go instead of having to take off the strut bar every time. But yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning. OEM strut bar you can no longer use because of those dampening knobs. So with that being said, everything else is done. So I'm about to put the wheels back on. Judging by the way it looks right now in the air, I feel like the fronts are going to be lower than the rear. The front honestly looks like the ride height would be perfect, and I think the rear is going to have too much of a gap for me, at least for my personal preference. But I'm going to put the wheels on, I'm going to drop it down, I'm going to see what the out of the box settings look like. I also have to tighten the locking collars on the coils. The bottom collar, if y'all don't know, I'm about to go around, I'm going to lock up all those locking collars on the coilovers. We're going to bring it down, and like I said, I think the rear is going to sit too high for my liking, but that's all right. Whenever we actually throw on the wheels, and if you haven't seen the wheels, I have another video about me going and picking those up. Whenever we throw on those Koenigs, I'm going to dial in the ride height then. So for now, stock wheels back on, just to assess what the ride height looks like. Then I'm going to take it on a test drive, see if they're super clunky and annoying, or if they're quiet. Everything is super tight, so it shouldn't clunk unless it's the coilover's fault. Fingers crossed it's quiet. That's the biggest thing I'm hoping for. But yeah, let's get it down there. And like I said, the ride height might not be perfect, but it will be very soon, so don't worry. I'll be right back. So I'm done with everything. You know, I'm putting the wheels on, and of course, the second bolt in the torque wrench dies. So now, not the torque wrench, the impact gun. Jeez, bro, I need to go to sleep. The impact gun died on the second bolt on the front wheel. So now I guess I'll just clean up the garage while it's charging for a little bit. We'll torque up the wheels and be good to go. My prediction was right though about the front and the rear ride height. Let me show y'all. So these are the fronts. That actually looks mint. Obviously it's still in the air, so it's gonna go up a little bit more. That looks perfect. When I put it down, I think it'd close up just a little bit more and we get the perfect ride height up front. Look at the rears. My God, bro. It looks like stock suspension still. So unless the rears have like 4 more inches of travel than the fronts, I don't know how that's gonna sit even remotely even. But I guess that's the MaxPeedingRods guarantee. That is actually insane. And there's like maybe 1.5 inches or 2 more inches of adjustment in the rear. So like if that doesn't go down 4 inches when I take it off the jacks, I'm gonna be upset. I'm at a loss. I'm just hoping it's even close to even. I don't want to be driving around like this for a week. I'm just hoping for the best. Let me clean up, and once I clean up, the impact gun should be charged a little bit, and then we're finally gonna reveal the ride height after this long and painful video. I'm sorry. Also, I know I said I wasn't gonna put the trunk paneling back on, but this trunk panel, let me show y'all. This button right here, that says trunk opener, on or off. So I don't know if that's required. But also, I didn't want to close the trunk and not be able to open it. So I just plugged on this back panel with 2 pins real quick. I plugged the harnesses back in just in case. Dude, that uneven ride height is scaring me, bro. Maybe it's a rear wheel drive thing. Because I've only had front wheel drive cars and it looks pretty even when it's up in the air. Is this dude, I think this is a MaxPeedingRods thing. Let's see if the impact gun is charged. I already took the other side off the jack stands and it's not looking good. It looks very uneven. Let's see when it's fully on the ground. The fronts are slammed and the rear is monster truck. I had a feeling. Well, that's kind of sad. I'm gonna pull the car into the driveway so I can give you a full look at it. I don't even know if I can roll around like this. I think I need to drop the rears right now. Let's see. Oh my God, bro. Let's pull this right back in and we're gonna drop the rears. Jesus. So the install is complete and I've just got a couple words. MaxPeedingRods. Look at the front. It looks mint. And look at the rear. And yes, I did fully max out the rear and that is out of the box front settings. I'm tucking tire in the front and I'm monster trucking the rear. That doesn't even make sense. I'm gonna message MaxPeedingRods and see if maybe they offer a shorter strut for the rear because that is just ridiculous. Just, oh my God, it doesn't even make sense. But we got this far in the install. So let's go take you on a drive. Let's see how they ride. Let's see if they're quiet. Let's see if they're smooth. Let's see how bouncy they are. We'll test it out. Even though it looks terrible, even though it's completely uneven, let's go on a drive and let's test it out. Why is there a cop behind me? Also, the front's got so low. Look at the mud flap. I'm about to scrape on everything. But let's go on a ride. This thing is about to drag so hard out of the driveway with that mud flap like that. So far it's quiet though. Yeah, it's very soft, very comfortable. Scrape. Just drag down the driveway. There's two cops right in front of my house. I'm gonna put the camera down for a second, but I'll keep y'all updated. This is so tragic because they ride so good. They ride so good. I've heard so many bad things about MaxPeedingRods. They're dead quiet. Like I've been going over bumps in my neighborhood. They're dead quiet. I just went around the turn. They feel super solid and super planted. They feel immaculate. This is just tragic, dude. If those rears went down to the height I wanted them to go to, this would be the perfect coilover install. I'd be so happy with them. But the reality is, the rears are monster trucking when the fronts are tucking, and the rears are fully maxed out. I don't know what to do. You know, some people might think this is my fault. Some people might like, you didn't actually max them out. I literally even, like the preload was set from the box, and I pushed up the preload even more, put the spring under even more tension to try to get more low out of it, and just nothing helps. Nothing. I'm so upset right now. The only thing I could do now is get shorter springs, but I'm not gonna buy upgraded springs for MaxPeedingRods. Like, the car feels so good. I'm so sad. If the rears were lower, I'd be more than satisfied. Like, this is a very bumpy road I'm on. It's very quiet. It's taking up the bumps very well. The car feels like it's on rails. I was going around the traffic circle fast and it's stuck. Like, these coils are great, but the ride height is not. We can hope that it's gonna settle, but really I don't think it's gonna settle very much. Like maybe half an inch, but even half an inch, like I need this thing to settle like 3 more inches to be even, and it is not gonna do that. But let me get out of the car real quick. Oh, that is just so goofy and so unfortunate. They ride so good. The Miata feels so much better being lower to the ground too. The front is honestly slammed, but I'm not keeping these. Like I said, I'm gonna send MaxPeedingRods another Instagram DM because that's how they reached out to me, and I'm gonna show them a picture of this and I'm gonna be like, is this normal? Because if they have some strut that's gonna go on the rear that's gonna knock it down another like 3 inches, I'll be cool with them. Because they're very nice. They ride surprisingly well. They handle surprisingly well, and they're surprisingly quiet. It's just I'm not staying at this ride height. This looks ridiculous. So there's y'all's last view of the Miata ever looking this height. It literally looks like I slammed the fronts and I have stock suspension on the rear still. Like, bro, come on. I actually think that might be the same height as stock. I don't understand how that's a coilover. It makes no sense. So in conclusion, the install went smooth. There was no issues with the install. There's no issues with the quality. There's no issues with the ride. It's very quiet. Everything bolted up perfectly. But only buy these coilovers if you want this goofy, uneven ride height. And I swear that's maxed out in the rear. I'm so upset. Even though it was a very disappointing end result, I appreciate y'all watching with me today, or I appreciate y'all watching this video today. I hope it was enjoyable. I hope it was entertaining. As always, my misery is y'all's entertainment. So like, if I get any updates from MaxPeedingRods and if they send me something out that's like new rear struts that are gonna make that a little bit lower, I'll make sure I keep y'all updated. I doubt they will. Honestly, I'm about to order some TNs tonight. Like, I should have trusted my instinct. I should have gotten those TNs to begin with. Come on, bro. I'll give y'all one more 360 walk around of the car. That way y'all can make fun of me and y'all can fry me up in the comments. I know I shouldn't have gotten the MaxPeedingRods. I shouldn't have trusted them. But you know what? This is what I get for being a skeptical human. And you know what? I bit the bullet for y'all. If in case you have this car and you were considering getting those this is exactly what you can expect. So I hope it was entertaining to watch this because I'm very sad, but I hope y'all are laughing at least. If you made it this far, make sure you like the video, make sure you drop a comment, make sure you sub, because I went through all of this for that ride height. So the least y'all can do is show me some love. I'm just kidding, but please show me some love because that was a lot of work for a terrible end result. I'll keep y'all updated. I'll keep y'all updated. I'm assuming we're just gonna go with new coilovers. I don't think they're gonna send me out anything that can fix that, but I'll keep y'all updated. Thank y'all again for watching. Drop a like, sub, and comment on your boy. Y'all stay blessed, and I'll see y'all very soon. Until next time, CTM on top, CTM for life, and peace out for now.